My name is Tanner Bourne, and I'm the Director for International Outreach at the Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine, Virginia campus, located here in Blacksburg, Virginia. As a Director of the International Program, my job entails the full planning and execution of week-long medical brigades in which we take a team of medical students, doctors, and volunteers such as nurses, pharmacists, and other medical professionals on a week-long medical trip to 4 international sites, those being in Honduras, El Salvador, and the Dominican Republic, 2 of which are located in Honduras. Throughout the week, we are able to provide an array of medical services to local communities in each of these sites free of charge. We bring roughly 80 to 100 different types of medication, ranging from analgesics, antibiotics, all the way to antihypertensives. We are able to visit a number of local communities throughout the week that we are there, often traveling 2 to 3 hours away from our lodging site throughout the week. In addition to these week-long medical brigades, we offer medical students the opportunity to stay in one of these international sites for a month, in a month-long educational rotation training as a part of their medical school curriculum. Even beyond that, as a postgraduate practicing physician, as a resident, you are able to come back and fulfill a specialized residency training in one of our international clinics located in each of these sites. Beyond that, as an attending physician, you are able to come to our program and volunteer your services as a medical professional, not only providing a medical service to local communities on the international scale, but providing an educational benefit to medical students in training. Speaking specifically to my position as Director of International Outreach, my training involved a lot of very specific, very detail-oriented training. As such, I am responsible for fully planning, executing, and carrying out all of these week-long medical brigades that we take every 3 months. What that means is I am responsible for making contact at the start with our local staff in each one of these sites, arranging all of the communities that we will visit, ordering the medication that ranges from 80 to 100 different types of medication, booking hotels, lodging sites, and meals for the entire medical brigade team throughout the entire week, booking flights, planning every day of the medical brigade from start to finish, organizing all of the medical students who aim to participate in the week-long medical brigades, as well as the physicians and the volunteers. And if that doesn't sound like a lot of work, at the end of the planning stages, once we arrive at the time to take out on our medical brigade, I'm responsible for being that primary contact, that lead role throughout the entire week. I'm responsible for the entire group of 50 to 70 different medical students, medical professionals, and other volunteers from start to finish of the entire week. What that looks like is never typical. I'm often responsible for troubleshooting things that come up on the fly, and resolving issues on an international level. Training for this position was not only a lot of work, but a lot of fun as well. A little about my background. My training is in modern languages. I am fluent in English and Spanish, proficient in French, and I have a working knowledge of Modern Standard Arabic and Egyptian Arabic. The Spanish, for the purposes of this position, really comes into play in that I am also responsible for being that first point of contact, not only for our team, but for our team to interact with our local patients on the international at the international sites. My training began I was hired for this position in August of 2016, and my training began rather on the fast track. I had been working in this position for about a month and a half, after which I was placed immediately into my first international medical brigade. We were going from Blacksburg, Virginia to Tegucigalpa, Honduras, the capital city, for an entire week. I had never had this type of experience coming from Southwest Virginia. I had never been out of the country before, and I was happily thrown into managing this really wonderful, amazing opportunity of being that guide, being that leader, executing that level of leadership for a large group of medical professionals, and being that facilitator for genuine medical care to our patients of the local community in Honduras. Since that very first medical brigade, I have successfully carried out and executed 14 subsequent medical brigades. In order to be fully able to carry out, plan, and execute a medical brigade, the training for this position, I felt most comfortable after probably an entire year, if not a year and a half. Just because there are so many small details to be mindful of. You have to be able to synthesize a multitude of information, a multitude of details in order to be successful in carrying out this, not only just this brigade, but the mission of the Edward Bio College of Osteopathic Medicine as well. So to say that there is a typical day for me, a typical day, the only thing typical about my day is that nothing is typical. Thinking back to before I began my career as an international outreach director, I always knew that I wanted to interact with people, to help people, and most of all, to communicate with other people. When I was in high school, I'm going to back up. When I was in middle school, I took Latin, and I absolutely hated it. And then once I got to high school, I transitioned into Spanish. And in my very first Spanish class in high school, I knew that I fell in love. I had fallen in love, and I knew that that was what I wanted to do. By the time I got to my junior year in high school, I was taking both Spanish and French. And then as a senior in high school, through an online learning platform, I took my first year in Arabic. I went to, after graduating high school, I went to James Madison University in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And I was fortunate because I had this, I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't know exactly what that would look like, but I knew that I was passionate about languages and cultures and connecting with people, even beyond the scope or restrictions of English alone. So I was very fortunate because I knew the program of study I wanted to pursue. So as a freshman in college, I declared my major. Fortunately, at James Madison, they have a wonderful modern language program. So I declared my major as a Bachelor's of Modern Languages, with concentrations to start in Spanish. And then by the time I was a junior in college, I had declared a minor in Arabic, in the Arabic language. For me, I think I was mostly interested in the communication aspect of learning another language. So aside from the general requisites of the language program, I filled my program of study with courses heavily focused on communication. I took lots of advanced level conversation courses, and a lot of advanced level literature courses as well. Because I find that being able to read in another language really expands the breadth of your vocabulary and your understanding of how the target language works. As an undergraduate, I also engaged in research, in linguistic research, analyzing the effects of L1 or first language speakers of Spanish learning English, and the effects of learning English on their native language. All of the linguistic and psycholinguistic effects of that. So I'm really interested in the linguistic aspect of language. Being able to, in my opinion, understand the phonology and phonetics of a language really aids one in mastering that language. In order to help with the practice of these languages, I involve myself in a lot of extracurricular clubs, such as La Mesa Española, Le Cercle Français, or الطاولة العربية, for example, at my local institution. Since, going back for a moment, since having worked at BCom for nearly 4 years now, I enrolled in a master's program for Hispanic Studies at Virginia Tech in the fall of 2018. I'm projected to graduate in April of 2020. Looking back now, although I knew the area that I wanted to specialize in, I had no idea the distance or the lengths to which language and linguistic study would carry me. After graduating from undergrad, I did not have much of a plan. I knew that, again, I wanted to pursue language and communication, but I never knew where that would take me. I'm so fortunate to have found my passion and my position at the Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine, because not only am I able to interact with the global community, but I'm able to interact with them in their own language, which provides an entirely more profound level of connection with another human being. My advice to anyone who is interested in the pursuit of learning languages is, don't be afraid to take that first step. Don't be afraid to engage in something with the fear that you won't be successful. Language learning is not an easy task, but it is valuable. It is worth it. Take that first step. Get involved in any level of language exposure that you can. A big piece of advice that has worked for me in learning another language: imagine your favorite television show or your favorite movie that you know by heart. You know everything about that movie or that show in and out. Then go on the internet, go to YouTube, and look for that television show or movie in the target language. Let's pretend that your favorite show is Friends. Go to YouTube and look up episodes of Friends in Spanish. You don't have to have a large command of the language, because you already know what they're saying. So you can kind of expect what will be said, and then you can hear and learn how it is spoken in the target language. Beyond that, as a result of having worked at VCOM, the Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine, and being engaged in this global interaction, this global service, my passion for aiding and helping others has only grown. And I have been fortunate enough to use my original passion, languages, to expand my newly developed love for helping others. Again, my name is Tanner Bourne, and I'm the Director for International Outreach at the Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine, Virginia campus. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or want to learn more. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.